Oh, hey guys. So, it's currently 5:30 Central, in the middle of Nebraska. Well, not quite middle. I just left North Platte rest area. Well, this planet has to go to the way station westbound. Well, I'm not afraid of those, but I forgot over the long week and a half that the westbound way station is currently at 6 miles and is closed due to construction. So you guys should see the cones on video. Then again, this phone's a little mounted too close to the windshield, so it has a hard time focusing on shit. And I have a hard time keeping it straight. But somebody asked me, any advice for buying a truck? And I was originally gonna just make a comment, but I was like, no, that's actually a much better video. Because I could probably get it out, ramble a little bit, and still make a lot more sense than I probably would going back and forth too. Because it's like, there's many factors, right? And I'm just gonna go based off like reefer free, right? Because like, or van free. That's all I'm gonna go based off of, because if you want a flatbed, you need different specs, right? For example, you need a longer frame. But I mean, there's all kinds of things, right? So, but I'm just gonna answer it based off reefer or van, because they're both the same pretty much. I will say though, I'm gonna say this probably against common, practices or beliefs in this industry. Because there isn't one solution fits all. There isn't a magical glove that fits everybody. There's no universal sizing, for example. It's whatever works best for you. That's the first thing, right? But I will say there are some universal rules, like I would still have at least 30 to 50K in the bank after the truck gets bought, right? So that's assuming you put $20,000 down on the truck, and then honestly you put more down on the truck either. Even if you cut needs $5,000 down, but you can always put more. There's nothing wrong with putting more. It means it gets paid off faster, right? But if you, and then also, by the way, there's no such thing as having enough cash in the bank. There's never enough. Something always happens. For example, my truck seems to eat, by the truck itself, seems to eat about 5 to 7K every quarter. And that's on the cheap end, right? That's just on little fucking nickel and diamond shit. I'm getting ready to have to put between May and July, May and end of July when I go home. I'm just trying to make it to where I can do it at home because of downtime. But the truck's probably gonna need about minimum 10K because I need to do new clutch, flywheel, drop transmission, do some new seals on the back of the engine. A lot of labor work, right? And then also pop the transmission off, check it. But minimum 10K. But I'm also gonna do some extra additives, so it's probably gonna be closer to 15K. Or when I say additive, extra work, all the transmission done, And it's gonna be on 72. I'm saying I'm bumped up 75, but let's go ahead and pass this guy real fast. So I'm first rule, you will never have enough cash. Truck paid off, no such thing. There's always gonna be pros and cons. You can go brand new truck, but then you're looking at 25% down on the low end, and $3,800 to $4,200 a month in truck payment, right? But it's warranted. But you still got all the little shit, right? You still got tires, you still got new brakes, shit can still go wrong. You blow an airbag, and that's a one-for-one pretty much in parts of labor job. So it is what it is. Okay, but let's get focused on this. And I'm always like this a little bit, but I also just woke up, so I've only been up for 30 minutes, First rule, first bullet point. I would spend $60,000 to $100,000 on a truck. I know, like I said, my opinions are going to be against the popular grain. But it's based on what I've learned for real world numbers, doing it. Like this is what I've learned, and what I would change to. So some of this is what I would change. And there you go. There it is, close, right? Now, where would I look to buy a truck? Honestly, I'd go get a Pedigree truck, and that's prime, by the way. But Pedigree is who sells all their used trucks and trailers. Not all their trucks have a lot of warranty left, but a lot of them do. Like, you can get a really cheap International 826 that has like 2-year unlimited mile warranty for like 50 to 60 grand. We'll have like 300,000 miles on it, right? And all the trucks will be spec to make money. Will be spec to fucking for MPG. So that is the reason why I'm like, just go there, because they're pretty good price. You get warranty for, I think, all of them. Not like all the same amount of warranty, but all of them have warranty. Alright, but now I told you the price, $1,600,000, okay? What would I buy? Let's just talk about manufacturers. Okay, PACCAR, off limits. And, let's rephrase. PACCAR Cummins and the Eaton transmission, right? Fine. That's fine. But PACCAR in general is off limits. The PACCAR motor is nothing but a money pit. You're gonna have a lot of bigger bullshit, a little bullshit. It also lets you knock sensors. Even like a set a year, and this has been a common occurrence I've seen with even multiple PACCARs, like multiple PACCARs for multiple companies. I'm just hearing it. It's like, well, they don't take care of it. At some point, when does a trend become the problem? When does the minority become the majority? And it seems to be the knock sensors. Like, there's another thing too. We should have this too, but there's another thing. We have a 2022 T680 that the owner of this authority I've leased onto drives, and at around 370,000 miles, it's had a rebuilt transmission, rebuilt transmission, new clutch, new flywheel, and a rebuilt motor. All warranty except for the clutch and flywheel. That was $5,000 by itself from that dealership, right? But I mean, that shouldn't have happened. Not at that stage of its life. It shouldn't have happened. That's what warranty's for. But like I said, warranty's not everything. Not everything's covered. Like I said, $5,000 is what it costs them, but for the clutch and flywheel labor, which $5,000 for pretty much equivalent to $18,000 of transmission work, I would take that deal any time, because the transmission by itself is $12,000, right? So I would take that any time. All right, so okay, honestly, ignore what people's fucking comments and stuff like on Facebook, social media, whatever. People they focus too much on the fucking brand and too much, automated transmission, oh my god. No, I don't give a fuck. Money is power, and the only fuck. Money is king, right? Money is king. You want to check this in? I'll say dollar shop. And when I say dollar shop, I don't mean all the nickel, like, okay, you're gonna have nickel and diamond shit for everything in the way, right? But I'm talking about major issues. Alright. So, money is king and fuel mileage is king. Those things will give you the best chance to make a profit. So here's what I would do. I'd go Volvo, D13, right? Not Cummins. Why? The motor is bulletproof. You can abuse the motor. There's a reason why you see a lot of raggedy fucking Volvos out here, but they run and run and run and run. But they will have some issues. Depending on the gen, right? They could have injector issues, which means you're going to replace injectors every couple of years, 3 years, and that's about, $5-6 grand. My gen Volvo, which is not the brand new Volvo this came out, 25 last year, or 24, whatever. It's the one before that, 3rd gen. Back of my motor, the timing gaskets, right? And then between those two, you gotta drop the transmission, so there's like 8 hours of labor, right? Drop it, put it back up. Those two gaskets, about $1,500 to replace them. That's including the labor. So right there's $2,300, right? Because the transmission gotta come out. It's not awful. Honestly, it's kind of cheap in the grand scheme of things. I wouldn't even sweat it. I just haven't done it yet because I'm waiting to get everything done at once type thing. That's the best way to approach maintenance. But you learn to prioritize things. Okay, so Volvo, number one. And I'll start talking about specs here shortly. And here's what okay, like I said, Freightliner is good. It's a workhorse. It's gonna have a lot of stupider shit needing to be done. Like for example, I don't know if they still fix from the factory with the current Cascadia Evolution that the diff seal from factory is too hard. It's too stiff. It's not flexible enough. So what happens is it comes at like within 100,000 miles, it starts leaking. That's what happened to mine. That's what happens. So every time I see I'm around shop works with Freightliner, I ask, and it's still a common problem. It's cheap. It is warranty. It's a cheap seal. It's like $100 seal, like an hour of labor. It's cheap. It's just stupid, right? Like I said, stupid shit. And the windshields still come from factory fucking leaking. And it's not the windshield, it's the seal. They use too hard of a seal, which I think this is glued in. But a lot of the people that replace it, they just generally go around the seal with silicone, the clear silicone, that seems to fix it, right? But that shouldn't be a thing. I know when I had my windshield replaced, my old Freightliner I had with JCT, that what they did is they cut the seal away and they put a softer seal in, and that fixed it. But it's fucking stupid. It shouldn't happen. Shouldn't happen. Freightliners, for example, you're gonna go through coolant reservoir sensors and tanks a lot faster, right? There was a bulletin board. I don't know if they fixed it with a revision into the tank. Just like on the just like that on the Volvos, for example, the Gen 3, the coolant reservoir on the little hoses, they got they're in front of the motor above the fan. There's little plastic nipples that stick out. The little hoses go on the clamps. Those nipples tend to break over time with stress, get hairline crack. So like most guys just put 3/8 heater hose over them and clamp them down, and that fixes it much longer. But it's only a slightly longer band-aid, because eventually you have to fix your coolant tank anyway, right? Again and again and again. I've already replaced it one time. But I also bought this truck with it having a hairline crack that was not noticeable. Like, but outside of coolant leak, I couldn't figure it out where until I happened to get lucky standing outside the road over in Pittsburgh, and I happened to see it drip from there. Because it only did it going under power up hills, and then it would dump coolant quickly. But alright, so, and then probably Packard, or when I say Packard, I mean Peterbilt, Kenworth, or Cummins, right? And that'd be third. Because the Cummins motor's fine, you're gonna have more expensive repairs than that, but the motor's solid. Like all three of those, the motor is solid. That's the reason why I put those there. In the end, there's other variables you can do. Like I said, you get the International with the S13, which I've heard great things about the motor, but you're not gonna see them on the market yet for use. I would definitely put that probably up there second, because of how reliable that motor's been, and how little problems they reported since it's been out already. And they're relatively cheap. You can get a brand new one for about $160,000. That's like $20,000 under what? And that's like a fully loaded one, right? And that's about $20,000 cheaper than the other companies. And that's because International is, what they've done with their reputation. But alright, so there's that, right? Those are the only three I stick with. I would stick with number one, like heavy priority size, number one, number two. Then let's start talking about specs. Okay? It doesn't matter how fucking gutless your truck is if it prints money. Because reliability is king, right? Fuel mileage and reliability is king, right? Like I said, cash is king. So whatever keeps cash in your pocket, that is priority. So there's gonna have to be a middle ground with specs. Sure, you get a truck to climb hills all day, every day. I've had a truck climb hills fully loaded, 50 miles an hour, but it was screaming at 1700 RPM. And at 1500 bare minimum, at 70 miles an hour. And even at 50 miles an hour, still doing 1700 or 1500, I mean. So there's zero fucking reason to I was lucky to get 5.5 mpg in that truck. Lucky. Alright. So rear ends, 264 is probably the highest I'd go. 247, 264. However, though, if you go to Prime, you get the pedigree trucks. For the Volvo, for example, their rear end is 215. Now, keep in mind, don't listen to, like, if you pick rear end 215, be like, oh my god, it's got no power. Nope, wrong. There's two different spec setup. One is starting to become more popular. There is the normal traditional middle ground, which is like the 264, right? And that will do 70, about 1250 RPM. 215 is what we consider a downsped motor, a downsped spec. And that means you're getting much more power. You're figuring out how to get more power at the low RPM range. For example, 70 miles an hour is going to be 1,000 RPM, which also means you're going to get like at least 0.5 more MPG over time doing 70 than like 1,200 RPM, right? So on average, like if I had that 215 rear end right now, I'd probably average about 8 during the summertime, 8.5 during the summertime doing 70. This truck is about 7.5 to 7, 8, right? Over the whole summer, doing just average month to month, right? That's what I did last summer. Pretty much what I did the first summer, even though it was a little less, it was like 7.3 to 7.6. But honestly, I would get 215, really. If I was going to get involved, I wouldn't even switch 215. Because also, by the way, that 215 means you're going to have a thicker drive line, so it's going to be able to handle more power. Because that motor is putting more power through to the back end, a lot more power, so it's going to have a thicker drive line. But alright, so 215, 264, either way, you can go wrong, right? That is the rear end I would. You don't need all the luxury. Is double locker nice? Yes. You don't need it, but it's nice. I don't care so much about the safety shit. No, it's annoying sometimes, but you learn to use it and kind of drive with it, right? And also about some of those, you can just either disable, depending on the years, or you can kind of just make it where it's not as sensitive, right? So you got that. Now the motor horsepower doesn't fucking matter, because you're gonna be able to turn it up anyways. So like, you pick up Prime's Volvo, for example, it's gonna be 4.25 on like 1750 torque. But you take it a Volvo, they're gonna tell you what you can get from that, and it's gonna probably end up being like, for example, they'll give you 3 options, and it's probably gonna be a couple hours labor, which is like, don't let a shop charge more like $800. It really should be like $600, maybe 800 most. But I've read about shops charging a couple grand for it. If you call for a quote for a horsepower and torque increase, if they say more than like $1,000, fucking just walk away. Don't even consider it. It's all ECM. You take it in there, they'll plug into it. The message like Volvo, for example, and be like, Volvo, we need a request for increased horsepower and torque. What can we do? Volvo will come back with here's 3 different options of what that truck can do. Either the shop will call you, ask you which one you want, or you just give me the highest one, most power. And for the D13, it's like 505 horsepower. No. The D13, I think, gets up to 550, but 505 is easy, and like 1850 torque, right? So there's that, right? Which is, it's better to have the engine reserve, because so torque gets you going up the hill, horsepower maintains you up the hill. So the reason why you see a lot of trucks lose their momentum towards the top of the hill, not at the bottom, it's towards the top of the hill, they start like, for example, bottom of the hill, they start like 35, 40, they're maintaining it until all of a sudden almost too low, too top. Then all of a sudden they get down to like 32, 30, because they don't have the horsepower to finish the climb. That is what that is. That's what explaining that. Torque gets you going, horsepower maintains you. So don't sweat about horsepower. Fuel tanks, don't sweat it, right? You can increase fuel tanks. APU is fucking important. My APU's got as much hours on the APU as my motor. My motor's got over 15,000. So take care of the APU. Yeah, it'll still have issues. She'll break, but it's a two-stroke fucking motor. How complicated and unreliable is two strokes? It's not. If it doesn't have if it does not have an APU, what would I put on it? Green APU. Why? It's 12 grand, 13 grand installed in Chicago, same day, right? But don't even spend 12, 13 grand. Why? Because you can go to any parts store and pick up the part that APU needs same day. No proprietary parts, except maybe like some things for like there's certain things. But all the major components are walk into your car store, like the compressor came out of a Honda Civic, for example. That's why I wouldn't even care. But I have a Thermo King, Pedigree, all their trucks come with APUs. So it's nice. Let's go get past this truck here. And I just do a PM on that on my APU about every 6 months, right? Depends on how much you're running, but every 6 months needs to be fine, right? Your APU will start telling you. It's usually the air filter starts getting clogged first, so, but it will start telling you when it's about time, anyways. But there's a lot of little things I would add on to the truck in hindsight, like tire inflation on the drives, very important, right? Your tire inflation, number one killer for tires. I also don't do reactive maintenance for the most part. Like, there's some shit you gotta have to do, but a lot of my maintenance is proactive, right? Give you an idea of the cost. Kingpins, $1,500 from just across the board for all manufacturers. Some are a little bit more, like some are gonna be a little cheaper parts wise, but at an average $1,500. Especially in the new Aero truck, like the current Aero truck, nobody's gonna have, well, it depends on the axle, but most people seem to run Mirators, all right, which means they don't have the kingpins built in. I think that's Hendrickson that has the kingpins built in, I believe. That you don't replace. You replace the bushings, but not all these kingpins. So the kingpins, $1,500. EGR cooler, like it's gonna be probably about like $2,500 to replace it. Like and that's gonna be pretty much every 400,000 to 500,000 miles, give or take. You have to do an overhead, which is like $800 to $1,200 every 2-3 years. Turbo, $7 grand. There's the depth cruise, by the way, the little radar thing, like I said. So you kind of learn to adjust around it. Some are much better than others. Oh, I didn't even talk about emissions. Volvo is probably the one that has it best overall. And that's all because I can drive Volvo, right? You can go in and talk to shops about their emissions and ask how many problems they have on like current gen Volvos or like the last gen Volvos, like Gen 4 Volvo, which is like current new look. It's gonna have more problems currently, but it's all software work, right? But currently, Volvo is considered in the industry one of the, like, pretty much the best one when it comes to reliability. International is going to be up there here with the S13 very, very, very quickly because, well, they do shit a little differently. And, wow, until they get a couple more years out, nobody's going to catch on yet. So, but I'm just not going to recommend International too much until it comes. About 2 or 3 more years, and then you start seeing a lot more trend. But right now, it's only got one major flaw, which is the warranty work. PACCAR emissions are going to probably give you the most issues, the most. Freightliner, they're generally good. Their def header, which is, and what is a def header? They're all, if you go to any shop and say def header, Volvo calls it something different. It's the same fucking thing though. And that is, in the def tank, there's a pickup tube with all kinds of sensors. And it's also, it's what heats everything too. So it does, by the way, speaking of that, don't worry about your fucking def freezing your truck. It will be fine. Because as you, it knows it's frozen, it'll heat it up. My def tank, it's on average about 70 to 80 degrees going down the road winter time, okay? So it'll heat it up and defrost it, and then it'll start using def fluid again. It will not, unless it's broken, then it will throw code. Alright? It'll throw a check engine derate. But whatever. Don't worry about it being frozen. It will heat up the frost. But that def header there's a big like stem pickup tube, right? All kinds of sensors, and it's like that says the heat, the def level. And there's one more sensor in there, I forget, but that is a common failure on the Freightliners, and so is the def pump. However, though, I didn't know this. This is something I learned last year. Every single so there is a filter, another filter, because all these def tanks have a pre-screen, right? And the nozzle, and the fill nozzle, right? There's two filters typically. That gets replaced every year, and the every def pump has a filter. It could be on the def tank side, or they could be on the pump side. If I remember right, Freightliner's on the pump side. Volvo's is in Volvo's def pump. Well, Freightliner's def pump is on the one box side. Volvo's def pump is connected to the def tank, and it's on the back, and it's really easy. It's like real fucking easy for you to swap that def pump filter. It takes 5 fucking minutes, right? Easy. And that filter's like, what was it, like $20, $30, something like that. So I wouldn't even sweat it. I would just fucking do that. There's a lot of filters you do once a year, right? But this is getting a little long. Pretty much in the sum of things, I guess the best way to explain it is there's only a few things that really matter. All the extra little shit you can easily add later. Easily, right? Let's just go do it. I'm gonna camp the left lane. Yeah, all the shit. So like I said, rear ends, cool. APU, cool. You know, priority. And then the manufacturer engine. There's a lot of things you can do. Like I run a Hot Shot Secret at its field. All that does helps keep my injectors, you know, cleaned out and healthy and lubricated. My helps disperse water more easier through the filter. Keeps water out of the fuel, right? And there's a lot of, it does other things, you know. It's a small cetane boost. I run Hot Shot Secrets every day. Most times, I rarely use the winter stuff because the Hot Shot should also make sure my fuel is treated at -9 always. So my wax point is always -9. So, for example, this truck is turned off, and I don't even sweat it when it's -10 outside, -15. We do -9 shit. But they also make -65 anti-gel, which, by the way, make sure you read your fucking anti-gel. Most people fuck up on it because they don't use enough. There's a lot of anti-gel we say if it's like 0 degrees, use this much. If it's like -10, -20, use this much, which means you probably double it. A lot of people fucked up. They only 2 days if it's 0 degrees, and boom. But Hot Shots makes a winter anti-gel where it's down to -65. And Project Farm, if you don't know, he's tested a lot of the common anti-gels, and Hot Shot Secrets on average #1 for every single test he did. So you can, there you go, YouTube it, Project Farm, anti-gel, and enjoy. Okay, there you go. I would also, this applies to any truck. I would spend the money to get a good tool. at the bare minimum, get OTR tool, $600 a year. When you buy it, it gives you a year subscription up front. So you need a tool. You need a fucking tool. I cannot emphasize that enough. You need a tool that can force regions and clear D rates. That is the biggest priority there. But you know, if you get a tool that that you can also do your own test, your own diagnostic on it, your own compression testing, own EGR testing, that is worth the money. Even if you go months without using it, it's worth the money. But if I didn't answer, if there's still some things that I didn't cover in this 30-minute fucking video, go ahead and ask them. I don't think I'll make another video about it unless it's enough, and I'll try to be a little bit more on focus on that point. But I will definitely answer until I get too big where I feasibly can't answer it. But you'll see when I buy my second truck that some of the things I've learned, which isn't much. I didn't do research when I bought. I did self-research. I kind of ignored most people's opinions because a lot of, oh my god, animated, it's unreliable, it's expensive fucking repair. iShift, one of the most reliable transmissions you're gonna have on the. Yeah, there you go, iShift, right? Volvo's fucking transmission. One of the most reliable ones. DD12, which is Freightliner, one of the most reliable ones. There's a reason why, if you ask anybody, their favorite automated transmission is usually Volvo's number one. Sometimes you'll enter DD12 number one, but it's always right there, and you always hear about how smooth they are and reliable. Yeah, they're going to be more expensive to repair, but it doesn't. If you get 800,000 miles with no fucking major problem, that's not unreliable. That is a lift, it's a life cycle. The clutch and flywheel on this is $3,500. Brand new OEM, by the way. That's with the labor. So, there you go. Or no, that's parts, excuse me. To drop the transmission, input it up, plus labor for clutch flywheel, or your main seal, because if you're going to drop transmission, right, might as well do that. It's $6,500. On the grand scheme of things, that's not really expensive when it comes to these fucking trucks. A turbo by itself, it's about $7,000 by itself, just to get the turbo replaced. So, not expensive. Put this in perspective, a set of tires nowadays is at minimum Ironman tires, right? And you don't do new recons, but Ironman tires, about $4,200 installed, okay? And there's tire discounts, so don't worry too much about them at Michelin. It's about to tell you price-wise. But Michelin's, they're about $800 a tire, $800 tire, which is about, $7,000. So when you have tires about the price of a fucking transmission work, not really expensive. Tires are egregious because they doubled in price in scope. But so there's a lot of shit. The labor rates is what gets you, not the fucking parts. So find a reliable shop. But also, do not buy a truck. I should have said this early on too, but do not buy a truck unless you have reliable freight that pays good. Can you make it on spot market with the $60,000 truck? Yes. You will not be going home though. You will have to fucking run your ass off. I don't go home because my truck is 1 year ahead of schedule. My truck is paid off 2 years instead of 3 years. So it's not the same thing. I wish I was running this current freight I have doing now from the get-go. This truck has been paid off probably like 8 months ago. But it is what it is. Hopefully it helped. Hopefully my just waking up rambling, was entertaining too. But anyways, guys, stay safe out there. Next time. Bye.